70s chick here with another half-hour album review. I'm sorry I wasn't here last Friday. I wasn't feeling too well, but I am up and at 'em today. And I've got a really bizarre one for you today. Actually, I've got two. One of them being probably the most bizarre album ever. And it was ranked the worst album of all time. And actually, so curiosity got the better of me, and I actually ordered, it was only available in cassette, and I got it, and I'm like, oh my God, this stuff is cool. The music is, it's a duo, and I'm not going to tell you yet who it is. You'll be surprised. The music is a cross between Deep Purple and Uriah Heep, and the lead singer does nothing but keyboards, like organ, clavinet, keyboards, and bass pedals, and there's only a drummer, so it's a duo. And the cover, I'm not going to even show. It might offend some people, so I'm going to show the back cover, which is, of course, 10 times more tame. And I don't own the rights to any of the music that I'm about to play. I will go ahead and play you the first song. You can listen to this. You'll never guess who the singer is. Hold on. Hopefully you can hear this. It is none other than Billy Joel. In a duo, they call themselves Attila. And in the front cover, they dressed as Huns. And this one I just wanted it because it's tame. And the drummer's name is John Small. And as you know, Billy Joel formed, his first band was the Hassles in 1967, and they made 2 albums. And of course, Billy Joel was influenced by Deep Purple's In Rock album, which was also released the same time as Attila, this was released, as a matter of fact, today's date in 1970. And today marks the birthday of my favorite Zoomer. I mentioned him on 1975, the show Zoom, and his name is Danny Malloy. And hopefully he's doing well out there. And the drums are superb. Everything. And it's loud. A lot of people, I guess it was an assault on their ears. It was way too much for 1970, which I don't know how, because there was bands like Deep Purple and Uriah Heep, Uriah Heep was like a prog metal band, and one of my favorites as well. They stopped being good, though, around 1974 or 75, and then after that they went through lead singers and different directions of music that sounded a little more pop rock. So anyway, moving on. They would put Billy Joel said they used to do a lot of heavy metal, and they played at 12 bars, and of course they drove people out of the bars because they were too loud and too raucous. Well, duh. And the duo actually disbanded when Billy Joel ran off with his drummer's wife, Elizabeth, and they later married. But evidently they still recorded, but they only did that one album, and that was it. And then Billy Joel went back to anyway, he went to be, a pop singer more likely. And I was never a huge favorite of Billy Joel's, but I did like Elton John from when he came out to 1975, and after that, his music to me just went downhill. Anyway, I'm going to read a little bit of the excerpts from the CD here. It's the most remarkable group on the scene since the Huns sacked Europe. And the music you will hear on this album has no studio gimmicks, no multiple track recordings, no extra musicians, and the sounds you will hear are the same as you would hear live. And how many of us paid to hear groups live only find that the real sound was on records? Very true. There's very few groups out there that sound good live as they do in the studio, but there are a handful. There's Allman Brothers Band for one, and I covered them a few weeks ago or so. And they bent the heads of a few passing cops. Oh, here we go. Here's a really good song. This is hilarious. It's called California Flash. And it's about a man playing in a rock and roll band who had a 20-foot mustache and a lavender sash. In the rock and roll band. 20-foot mustache. He would have. What it was, he was in a rock and roll band supposedly. Now I don't know if this is autobiographical or not, but the lead character, jumped on stage, and then he started doing a dance. Says it was imported from France. The girls all started to crash. To see California Flash removing his pants, so he's stripped naked on stage. And then, of course, he's doing his thing. Then he left, and then they heard a crash, and everyone hid their hash. The door caved in with a smash, and 99 policemen busted California Flash. So far. Like I said, deep purplish and a little Uriah Heep. So let's see, that was about it. That's really the extent of it. But in a lot of the people that reviewed the band, they said he can out-screech John Lord, and he didn't need Ritchie Blackmore or Roger Glover. That, of course, those three are the members of Deep Purple who... John Lord was a keyboard player who I think Deep Purple he made Deep Purple sound, and not the lead guitar this time. And John Lord, sad to say, he passed away quite a few years ago. And the lead guitarist in Deep Purple, of course, was Ritchie Blackmore, and Roger Glover was the bass guitarist. Here we go. Crash! Everybody hit their hash! What with a smash! 99 policemen because of California Flash! So anyway, that's the story of that. Goodbye. Yeah, who knew Billy Joel would take that? I wonder what it would be like, what would happen if he took that musical direction today. I think he'd probably be up there with Deep Purple. I mean, but he called the album psychedelic bullshit. So I guess they gave it a try and didn't take off the ground. So anyway, let me see what other interesting songs here. Revenge is Sweet. A little bit mellow, more mellow beginning. Yeah, I haven't heard this album. I haven't put it on my CD turner here in quite a while. It says here, what else? Billy Joel, he played in it. It was a Hammond organ, of course, he played. And it was a model B3. Hammond B3s were like the instrument back in the day. He rewired it to bypass the Leslie tone cabinet, and it feeds directly into the amplifiers. He called the result pure raunch. Further effects are obtained with foot-controlled wah-wah and volume. He uses a keyboard bass of his own design, plus unconventional couplings of standard organ stops. And John Small plays a normal set of drums, pretty much the same way any other two other drummers would. So yeah, that is really impressive. I mean, I'm just listening. Hopefully you can hear this music, because I don't turn it up too loud here because I have to talk over it and I don't want to scream. But a lot of the music I notice on these videos when I play back, they come out choppy. Let me turn it up super loud. Hold on. Hopefully this don't hurt your ears. Wow, who knew that Billy Joel could belt like that? When I first heard it, I'm like, wow. And I asked my hubby, I said, I actually told him, but I said, you'll never guess who the singer is, listen. And I said, he's in the same level, he's in the same genre as Elton John. And of course, I still had to tell him it's Billy Joel, and he was blown away. I mean, he loves it. We listened to it one time, fittingly going to the Florida Renaissance Festival, which I go every year when it comes down here. And I had no idea my hubby didn't like being there. I just thought he did, and I would drag him there every year. But last year, actually earlier this year, before the pandemic, I went with my good friend who was my ex-boss and her husband, and we had the best time because they like to take their time and look around. And my hubby is, he never likes to go anywhere. Well, he does, but not, I don't know, not to that extent. But me, I like to go everywhere, and I like to sit in once in a while, but I love going places. So anyway, yeah, this was played, and this one, like I said, it was released in July 27th, 1970. And let's see what other songs we have here. Amplifier Fire. Part 1 is Godzilla. Part 2 is March of the Huns. So far, that's pretty much nothing else to really explain for the album except Joy of Life. Let's see, what else here? Oh, what else here? There's a remarkable truth. In the 5th century, a scourge rolled around Eastern Europe, destroying all that stood in its path. A screaming, invincible wave of destruction. It left in its wake half the civilized world in shock and bleeding submission. It was a sword and a flame. It was a name that became synonymous with an unstemmable tide of conquest. Attila is the most remarkable group on the scene since the Huns sacked Europe. There are only 2 men in the group, an unlikely number for a conquering horde. But in numbers, their smallness ends. Their sound is their size, so are their ideas. Glad you made it. This is a really bizarre one. Too bad. Well, when you play back the beginning, you'll be surprised. I said who the singer is on this band. It's really only a duo, and the lead singer played only keyboards, and he played bass pedals and wah-wah with the keyboards, and there was a drummer. And the singer, you'll never guess who it is. None other than Billy Joel and his drummer friend. And needless to say, they only made one album because it went over really bad with the public, rated as the worst rock and roll album of all time. But I heard it and I'm like, you know me, I like all that kind of music from 1970. So I decided to give this a spin. I ordered the cassette actually. And I played it and I'm like, whoa. Yeah, really loud. You have to be in a certain mood to play this. Because it's even loud enough for me. And it, let's see, Holy Moses. And I got another album I'm going to review. It's like Deep Purple and Uriah Heep. You probably don't know who Uriah Heep is, but they were another Deep Purple sound-alike band in the early 70s that came about, late 60s, early 70s. And they had a similar sound to Deep Purple, only a little bit different style. But yeah, that's Billy Joel. And I'm not going to show the cover because it might be offensive. And, you know, I don't want to put anybody through, you know, I don't want to offend anybody. So, anyway. I haven't heard this in a while. But anyway, I'm going to move on to the next album. I thought I heard my husband. Oh, yeah! Well, anyway, that ends Attila. So, and I have another one interesting album to review. This is a little bit kind of graphic, but not real bad. It was the same band I talked about last week, and I presented their debut album. Well, this is Bloodrock II. This is the album that has that song DOA, or Dead on Arrival. And it was the one that I said was banned. A lot of radio stations banned it, and there's several high schools that banned the song, but it still went to the made the top 40 Billboard charts and went only to number 36. And sometimes the stations banned it only because of the sirens, and people would pull over and they'd freak out. But this album was released in October of 1970, and it's a little bit more Grand Funk Railroad sounding than their debut. And the only thing about Bloodrock is after 1971, they would go on tour. They had a lot of live shows, and people wanted them to do this song, and they refused to do it. So people started walking out of their shows, and they disbanded, but they reemerged again with another lead singer, and then the music was just watered down jazz fusion and pop. And the songwriter was influenced. It was influenced by, he wanted to be a pilot, and what happened was he'd just gotten off a plane at a small airport, one of those very, I think it might have been one of those single engine planes that are not very sturdy, and they more likely than not they crash. And sure enough, he watched his friend take off. He went 200 feet in the air, rolled, and crashed. But this is tame compared to DOA. I'm gonna put one of my favorites on. I'm gonna play this song for a bit. It's called Lucky in the Morning. And like I said, this album is it has a little bit too much filler to me. It's not like their first album was really heavy and it was really superbly done. And this one is heavy in some spots, but a little bit more kind of radio friendly. But the song DOA is not radio friendly at all, and it's hit the charts somehow. But this kind of sounds like Grand Funk Railroad a little bit. And after all, Terry Knight was a producer of Grand Funk Railroad. He produced this band as well. But, and the FCC even banned it. Oh no, it was the FCC that banned it because of the ambulance sounds. Because they thought people would think they were ambulance sounds. And this song actually was released in a compilation album in 1985 called Death, Glory, and Retribution. And it consisted of death, protest, and answer songs by various artists. So yeah, so this one, like I said, it's got some poppy sounding songs. I can go through each one. Hello, Lady Peeps, glad you can make it. I had a very interesting, I know you didn't catch the beginning of it, but you'll have to go back and watch. You're not going to believe the one album I covered was only one released, and it was a duo, and the singer did all the keyboards, the bass pedals, wah-wah, and only a drummer. You'll have to catch it at the beginning, and you'll laugh. You won't believe who the singer is. This one is a group I covered last week called Bloodrock. You've probably never heard of them, probably where you're from, and not too many people know of this band. They're very that obscure, but they released 4 albums, and they released a live album. And then, like I said, they split up, and then they reformed with a different lead singer, and their musical repertoire changed, and it was more watered down jazz fusion and pop. And what else was I going to say here? Oh yeah, they disbanded too because they refused to play Dead on Arrival in their shows. Well, here's the next song is called Cheater. And as you can see, this album's not as heavy as the one I covered last week, which was their debut. I don't know if you all can hear this. The only thing is I have to turn this up loud if you want to hear it, because the sound comes out a little bit muffled for some reason now when I do live videos. And if I turn up loud, I have to speak over myself. So if you want, I'm going to go ahead now, since we're already 20 minutes in. I'm going to let you listen to this song. It's called DOA, or Dead on Arrival. And it tells the story from a corpse, a man who was about to die. He and his girlfriend were dying in a plane crash. Here we go. Pretty spooky. This is one of the spookiest songs I think I've ever heard. I can probably fast forward some of it so you can hear. It's pretty spooky. Good for use at a Halloween party or for a haunted house. This alone would scare people. But anyway, here's the lyrics. I remember we were flying low and hit something in the air. Here comes the police sirens. Or the ambulance. It is so weird how this got to be the top 40. Of course, this is the album version, which is 8.5 minutes long. And of course, there's a shortened version that they will play on the radio. If you want to hear it all for yourself, the whole entirety, go to, like I said, go to looking at the ceiling. Someone lays a sheet across my chest. And the lead singer sounds like this. Something warm is flowing down my This is like Black Sabbath. Pain is flowing all through my back. I won't play the entire lyrics. I want to spare you all. If you want to hear it, you'll have to hear it yourself. If it's not for the faint of heart, trust me. And what else? Anyway, it's like I said, it's it gives Black Sabbath. It reminds you of someone. Ooh, I wonder who that could. Here we go. And when I look, I see there's nothing there. Oh boy. The face beside me stopped its totally bleeding. The girl I knew has such a distant stare. They give Black Sabbath a run for their money. Yeah, definitely. Well, here, I'm going to fast forward. Like I said, it's 8.5 minutes long. There's some spooky parts in the middle where they all sing and they sound like they're in like a dungeon or somewhere. Okay, hold on. Here comes the Anyway, yeah, this album even, I mean, no wonder it was banned. I mean, anyway, I keep forgetting what I was about to say because I'm listening to the music here. But let me go to the end. Okay. Here. Here come the sirens. Yeah, I bet you didn't expect these album reviews. I hope it didn't creep anybody out. Here, let's go on the lighter side. A song called Fallen. Nothing unusual about it. I just hope I didn't creep anybody out. Not many people can handle songs like that, I know, and it does sound evil, but, and like I said, I hardly even listened to this, but I know, I can imagine back in 1971 when that song came out, people actually were probably flooding the stations with calls, wondering, what was that? What was that? And I'm sure it had a cult following back then. And the album, actually, this album was the only one of theirs that reached the Billboard Albums chart. It went to number 26, mainly because of that song. But like I said, each of their albums, this one is a little bit more, I think, a little bit more. The first one was more harder rocking with a little bit of kind of dark matter. This one is very dark, but it has a little bit more hard rock than heavy metal. The next one, Bloodrock II, is completely, I mean, no, they got over their death obsession, obviously. And it was a lot more lighter, kind of a little bit more jazz tinge, like more hard rock. And then their fourth one, Bloodrock USA, was more radio friendly. I mean, it was still good hard rock, but nothing like this. This is like their darkest one. Yeah, me too, Lady Peeps. Every now and then I have to be in the mood. Oh, I want to take my glasses off. I love the backwards guitar. I love how they do that. It's amazing. Just like I said, Heart, Magic Man, the lead notes that open it are backwards. And another thing too with the Bloodrock CD I reviewed last week, in the beginning where they're talking, and like I said, you hear it and it says, back in the day, like I said, back when dinosaurs ruled the earth, when there was vinyl, and actually they still sell vinyl today, and it's coming back as a matter of fact. But back then, people we did that too with the Led Zeppelin album, spinning it backwards if you hear something about Satan, which is pretty spooky. And that one, Bloodrock, that one song, it says, anyone who is stupid enough to listen to this record backwards deserves exactly what they're about to hear. And they quote a line from a poem called Jabberwocky. So, but anyway, with a lot of times when people review records and they talk about, and there's backwards masking, of course everybody's going to do it. So if they hear something that sounds unusual, but yeah. So anyway, this concludes my half-hour album review. And I promise next week, maybe from here on in, I'm going to have a little bit things that are more lighthearted. Because that was pretty spooky. I mean, like a lot of people probably don't like that stuff. So if I offended anybody, I'm really sorry. I just wanted to, let people know. I don't know. I just wanted to give my thoughts on it. Anyway, that concludes the show. Thank you, Lady Peeps. That concludes the show, and I will see everybody on Wednesday, same time, same place, for more half-hour album reviews. Take it easy and peace out.